Welcome to Bundaberg Commercial and Peter Bender. This week you'll notice something a little bit different. There's an Australian joke that goes if two women go to a party and they wear the same dress, they sort of get a little bit antagonistic and they stay opposite ends. But if two blokes go to the same party and they've got the same shirt, they'll probably become best mates. And you wouldn't believe it, as we sort of come across the world in commercial and residential realty, I found something that just was a natural affinity to Simon. I thought, don't quite know what. So if you can work it out, make sure you stick a comment down there. But I'd like to take it's not the beard. I don't think it's the beard. I'll leave that. But I'd like to introduce my new best friend, Simon. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, Peter.
All right. Give us, apart from the fact it looks like you're moving countries, mate, give us a bit of a rundown on who you are and what you do so that people know a bit of the background, apart from having a cool hat.
Yes. Well, Cool Hat's the brand. So yeah, I'm building a residential listing and investing business here in Southeast Queensland. So a lot of uh, residential sales. Just got a new property under contract this week, and was able to get that to pass building and pest today. So I was like, yes,
Yeah, big step, mate.
more huge.
Doing well. It's always exciting. And
That
the excitement
absolutely
doesn't
is.
fade as you go on either. So that's cool.
No. Yeah, so building a listing business, I'm looking to build myself up to about four sales a month to be building a strong business there.
Hmm.
And then what I want to do from there is also build a property management business as well. So that way I'm actually able to help um, build a property management portfolio for a lot of my clients as well. So I'm building a uh, investor club in Southeast Queensland as well.
Good stuff, mate. It's you're only I'm not that far ahead of you, mate. Probably about 2 years, I think. So
Nice.
I know the pain and suffering that's coming. But the good thing is you get more volume at this stage in the residential. Like it was 13 months before I got my first commission come through. So
Oh yeah.
kudos to my wife, how she managed to pay the mortgage and the bills and everything for the first 12 months with nothing from the business. I have no idea. And to be honest, I didn't want to
It's
know either.
no. No, I mean
Yeah.
last year I did a 5 month slog with no commission come through.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's the pain, but it's also the joys of real estate.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. I don't know the joys, but yeah, it's just part and parcel. And as you get bigger, those lean periods have to get smaller. So to
exactly.
run along those lines. I thought quite often there's benefit in talking with people who are in the same industry but not on a competitive level. You being residential, me being commercial, and I've been
Yeah.
noticing I don't know, I call it the winds of change. I can smell change in the air, and I just wanted to touch base with you and see if you were picking up some changes down there as well. Um, Probably the first thing that came across my desk that indicated that things were changing one way or another was the exchange rates. I share with my viewers that when I'm not doing real estate, I play tournament level chess. And one of the benefits of that is I have a grandmaster coach who's in Georgia. Not Georgia is in America, as in Georgia is in Russia. And I pay him in US dollars. So
Yeah.
whenever I pay him, I know what the currency rates are, what the exchange rates are. In the last couple of months, the exchange rates have been going down. So it's cost me more money to pay it. And which is normal when exchange rates go down, it costs more to buy stuff in. Miners enjoy it because it gives them more money when they export. But it's one of the
That's
changes that I noticed through there. And then extrapolate that to the federal scene in Australia. We've got the budget coming up next month. We've got indication that there will be some sort of tax cuts. I don't know if they're going to be effective immediately or effective in the year 2048 or however they want to work it out. But that's going to be a little bit of relief to stimulate it. The RBA has kept interest rates at the same level. And if you read the report last month, that's because they're confused. You've got real wage growth currently going on. You've got decreasing inflation, and everything is up and down and all over the place. So I think the RBA just said, well, we're going to wait till the dust settles a little bit before we make any moves up or down, which further adds to the confusion for investors, both in commercial and residential. The other thing that I noticed is in the budget, there's probably for our viewers, we have a program called the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is a program designed to help people with disabilities, both physical and emotional and mental. And it's one of those things that's great intention, really good idea, probably poorly executed. It seems like everybody has got a vowel in their initial is eligible for the NDIS, and it's
Yes.
become very expensive. And every participant in the NDIS, and most of them are very much worthy and worth of it, has about 10 providers and about 4 programmers. There's a lot of infrastructure and fluff around it. Like any big government program, there's a lot of people on the gravy train. The government has gotten to the stage where they realise this is a big, expensive ticket now. So they want to start giving rumours of pushing that onto the states. So Queensland will look after their participants, New South Wales will look after them. From the federal government, that looks really good because it gets them off the books. Fabulous, looks their books real good. When you look at states like Queensland, the problem with that is we're already pretty strapped for cash. And to come on and take on our participants for NDIS, and we have a lot more up here because the weather's good. So if you're not well, a lot of people will move up here to retire and take it easy, as you probably already noticed. And that makes further aspects of strain on the economy. So one of the questions I had for you, Simon, is at state level, we're banking a lot on the infrastructure for the Olympics, and
Yep.
also in line with that a little bit is I don't even know what they call it, but that big building complex that they've got in Brisbane, where it's like a mini Dubai, mini Singapore. From what I understand, they now have gotten to the stage of putting the first of the 15 motels or hotels up in there. Are you getting sense of growth down there, or is it slowing down? I'll shut up for a while now, and you can tell me what's happening down in Brisbane.
Yeah, nice. You know, we're finding that there's still a lot of buyers in the market. So um they're they're getting a bit more discerning now. So instead of people just seeing a house come on the market and they jump at it, um, and offering way above what the asking prices were, now they're actually being a bit more discerning. So they're actually looking for, is the kitchen actually good, and things like
Okay.
that. So we've seen a slowdown in the net immigration into the state, which has
Okay.
been the largest growth factor of housing, I'd say, at the moment. The second big driver for growth in the state would be that with the moratoriums during the pandemic, we had 1 in 5 uh, investment properties actually go to disappear.
Okay.
So that was about 20% of all investment properties actually went from the market. So that's what one of the big things that caused the rental squeeze.
Now, is that because people were buying to live in the properties as opposed to investors buying already invested properties?
Exactly. So we had a lot of expats come back from overseas during
All
that
right.
time. So a lot of people coming back from Bali and Indonesia, that's Vietnam and things like that, all coming back to Australia, moving back into their principal place of residence. And that's where we lost a lot of
Hmm.
um, those investment products. So, and then we're still playing catch up on building. So there's not enough new builds going on for what the immigration is. So we're probably still sitting around 500 people a week moving into the state.
Okay. So we've
Uh,
still got a lot of growth in there. Hmm.
During the pandemic, we were at probably around 1,000
Yeah.
people a week, moving up from the southern states, getting away from
The
uh,
lockdowns in Melbourne and
the
Victoria in particular.
lockdowns
Mm,
and the dictatorship down there.
mm.
So, um, and that's where we found most of our growth. The Olympics has caused probably a bit more like light to moderate sort of growth, but it's been a sort of like, hey, is this going to make my property price go up? Whereas most of the growth I'm seeing is coming from the the immigration into the state, also um, the low inventory of rental uh, houses as well. So all of that is pushing up prices. So as rents go up, that's also driving the yield as well, which causes the price of the house to go up as well. So
Mm.
that's where we're seeing a lot of growth in property, especially. I mean, we had in 2021, I think we had about 30% growth around the state, and then 22 we had 20% growth, and we've slowed down a bit now. We're only
Growth
10
in regards to what was that, Simon?
property pricing.
Probably pricing sheet. Wow. Gosh,
Yeah.
maybe I should do residential.
Oh, man. It's a good time. The
Yeah.
I mean, I bought my place here in 2017 or 2018 for under 300,000, and it would be worth close to 550,000 now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
definitely.
haven't seen that growth since 2001.
Mm. And I'm still trying to work out how commercial boom and bust cycle works with residential. It's I used to think there was a lag behind it, and that may be the case. So one of the things that I watch regularly is the number of inquiries that come into the business. Now, mine is a little bit difficult to explain because one of the strategies I looked at was doubling the number of inquiries this year. That was one of my key goals, and
Yeah.
that's working and doing really well. But I'm not certain that can be considered normal or standard to the environment because I've been, it's a little kettle on the side, so I break it. So how are you going with number of fresh inquiries down your way in Brisbane?
Um, for myself, I'm mostly an outbound sort of agent, so most of my stuff is getting out there and speaking to people. I don't have much inbound
Okay,
per se.
it's probably a good way to
So
do it. Mm.
yeah, it's uh there's less competition in outbound compared to inbound. So
Mm.
uh,
It's a different
whereas
skill set too, but
yeah,
yeah, you need to run with that and farm your territory and start building relationships. In regards to commercial, they tend to be very long lag time. We have families up
mm,
here in Bundaberg that will hold on to properties for generations. So
yeah,
you can wait a
exactly.
long time before before you get something on the market. Businesses is a little bit different because I do properties as well as businesses. Businesses they can be anywhere between 3 and 5 years as a turnover. People start to
Yeah.
get to the stage where they need a change or want to cash out. There's a lot of people at their retirement stage, so we have that coming through as well, and a lot of new ones. But it's interesting. It's different cycles. People think of property as just property, but no, it's a whole different kettle of fish. So what else have you seen that's of interest down there?
Um, the other thing that I'm seeing at the moment is sort of more of a fresh lust for land.
Okay.
So I had a lot of blocks of land that were um, sitting on my books for probably about 6 months
Mm-hmm.
with not much inquiry, and now I'm starting to get regular inquiry every week or so with new people saying, "Hey, can I come and check that block of land out there in Ipswich?" So uh, I think with the balancing of interest rates slowing down a bit, people are feeling a bit more at ease, and we're seeing less builders going under, so it's not such a big thing.
Mm.
Whereas that's what we had before.
That's interesting. There's a commonality there. I have the same thing. I haven't had much land on my books, and then probably about 3 months ago, I started to pick up quite a lot, and I've got a big slab, big parcels, developed land, undeveloped land, the whole kit and caboodle, and it's
Yeah,
exactly the same. I've had I think one block in the last 3 years that they have listed, and it had maybe an inquiry every 4 or 5 months, but I'm
yeah,
getting a lot more inquiries now, and they're based on. It can be people in Bundaberg because the region's growing. There's a lot of businesses that are going into bigger premises. So that's one big category of people who are looking for land. There's an increasing number of businesses down south where you couldn't talk to them about expanding or buying another business 6 months ago. They're just too busy. But now
yeah,
on the Sunshine Coast, I heard that the building industry has dropped 30% since January. That's a residential building side. So now these businesses that were previously so busy are now sort of having a huge hole in their profit and loss. So they're now looking at making acquisitions and going in increase. They're looking for new footprint territories. So they're looking
yeah.
at coming into Bundaberg so they can use that as a footprint to go to Harvey Bay and to Gladstone and to Monto and Kingaroy and the likes of that. So I'm seeing that type aspect in there. Not many land bankers. They're all very much using it. And then you've got every wannabe developer who wants to have a complex of self-storage sheds. There's bad as
Oh,
coffee shops, honestly.
definitely. We
But you
actually
gotta
have,
love them, mate. You gotta love them.
yeah, yeah. We got one guy that's got probably about 30 containers, and we help him out, and we manage those for him, and
He's probably
he,
smart. It's cheaper to get a container than to build sheds and boxes.
oh mate, it is. I mean, he
So
was
it's interesting that land seems to be all over
5,000 bucks,
different. Mm,
and then he's renting each shed out for like 150 a week. He's raking it in.
yeah, yeah, and that's people love that passive income.
Yeah,
That and laundromats. I put a laundromat out and I'll get
yeah,
100 inquiries. So it's interesting to run. That I think all over, it's still a good customer confidence up here, and I'm talking from Sunshine Coast northwards and then and
yeah,
westward of there. Maybe people are a little bit more discerning. So I haven't had any. Most of the offers aren't full price now. They're all around about 10 to 15% discount, having a look at, trying to negotiate, see if they can get away with it. They're all
yeah,
praying that they haven't got somebody else who's also interested in it.
yeah.
They're comfortable when there's only one, but it's a little bit different. So I wouldn't put on a doomsayer view at this stage. One of the things I often say is I don't predict the future. The best I can do is have a look at the things that drive that future. So that's why it's good to talk with yourself in a different area, both geographically and industry, and work out what's coming if we can. Because
That's
traditionally it goes in Australia, the economic move goes from south to north. So Melbourne have a boom, and then Sydney will have a boom, and then Brisbane will have a boom, and then Cairns will have a boom. Meanwhile, Melbourne's suddenly gone to a bust, and Sydney then goes to a bust. So it's always nice to know what's downstream, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Or
But
does
yeah,
that make it upstream and we're downstream? It's hard. We're land down under. We're confused enough as it is.
all flipped on the head. Definitely. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's blocks of land in Gladstone up there around that Glen Eden suburb there. You can pick up a block of land for 120,000 now.
Mm.
Um,
Gladstone's very interesting for those who may not be aware. Gladstone is more of an industrial city for us. They use a lot of miners use conveyor belts to pump it out there. There's a smelter there at Boyne Island and the likes of that.
mm,
And because of that industry, it's always been boom bust and
yeah,
extreme booms and extreme busts. The indicators that you look for is a lot of those big companies now have finished planning for the next phase of construction. And they're about to begin the next phase of construction. When they do that, that is basically the start of the next boom cycle because they need a whole heap of workers, property prices go up, people buy all houses, and then they finish the construction in 3 years' time, and everyone goes and they're wondering, what do I do with 6 million houses for sale? So yeah, so right now is probably a good time to buy into Gladstone. Not that I'm recommending it, but I'm just sort of saying that's when you look at the cycle stage and the fact that some of those big organisations are going to do some big improvements and big expansions. It runs it through that way.
Absolutely. I don't recommend it either, but I do have 4 blocks of land for sale in Gladstone at the moment. So do buy.
Well, we'll have to make sure that our clients, make sure you subscribe to both our channels so you can
Yes.
get the good oil all over Southeast Queensland in all sorts of industries. And would you have to trust two men that wear hats,
Absolutely.
that's all I can say. Yeah, I
Yes.
have to think of a good tagline. The forecasting by two men speaking through hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, I've got I've got 4 blocks of land there in Gladstone at the moment. You can if you picked one up for 120 grand and then you build a house on it for 250, like a nice 4 bedroom home. I mean, what are we there? We're under 400,000 for a house and land.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you rent, you're very positive geared on that.
Mm.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it makes good sense at the moment. So
Mm. Yeah, and sometimes that's it. You need to either have really good timing or you need to be in the market for a fair while and
yeah,
understand the specialty you work on.
definitely. Because like land down here, we're looking at for like a 300 meter squared block for 350,000 there.
Can you actually
Out in
build on
Ipswich.
300 square meters?
Uh-huh.
What do you do? You put a house sideways or something,
Yeah, they do.
mate? Oh wow!
They they do think,
My last place was 1.25 acres. Mind you, now I've moved into a unit, so
nice.
it's like one extreme to the other. So
Yes.
wow, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, mate?
Um, Not that I can think of at the moment. I mean, I'm finding that the market's still good down here. Um, I think commercial down here, I think it might be a bit slower, especially around Ipswich.
Hmm.
We've got a lot of vacant commercial buildings at the moment.
Yeah, you've
Uh,
also got a very low ROI. People get excited about 3% in Brisbane area now. That's pretty
3%.
shocking. We get about 7 to 7.5% up here, which is another
Yeah,
reason why the money keeps going north to run with that. So,
exactly. Because you gotta at least pay your mortgage.
hmm,
You got to pay that interest rate back, and then 3% you're negative gearing, and yeah,
yeah,
it doesn't make
it gets
sense.
complicated. It's
Yeah,
not for beginners and not for the faint-hearted, and not for those who are very risk averse. But
that's
that's
right.
where the opportunity is made. Sometimes you just hang in there for a year or two, and then you can reap the reward later on. If you're looking at a 10, 15-year plan, what does it matter if
Yeah.
you have 2 lean years and you pick up 12 good ones after that?
Oh, exactly. No, that's the best way to do it.
Hmm. All right, my friend.
Very good.
It's nice to meet you face to face.
As
Keep seeing each other with our various hats on in YouTube, and I'm sure it'll provide comedy to those who watch us and see how we're going. And we'll
Absolutely.
touch base. All right, buddy.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you very much.
All right. Au revoir.